Okay, next thing we need to do is add sorting to the table. But before we do that, I think what we need to do is to clean up our code a little bit, because what we're going to be doing is reusing the code a lot, because we'll be saying, select star from papers, but then we're going to be using different SQL queries, select star from papers, order by author, order by week, order by something else. So therefore, I mean, our code has already got a very long function here, which is the page load function, which is not good programming practice. So first of all, we need to kind of break this down into, first of all, we need to transfer the whole thing into a new function. So let's say, for example, let's just create a function called display table. Okay, so display table. Okay, and for now, I'm going to put everything inside display table, which is going to be some improvement, but not a great improvement. So if I do that, select all the text, everything up to the top, okay, and take it out, and now put it inside a menu sub, right, so private sub display table, put an end sub, and then I'll post everything into that. Okay, so now at least I've separated the functionality a bit. But the reason for doing this is because we want to be able to sort. So we want to be able to put in a parameter whereby it'll display table based on some kind of choice of whether you're sorting by author or by week or whatever. Before we do that, let's just look what else in the code we can make a little bit nicer. Now, the things where we create the cells, we've got 4 lines, but there are only really 2 things which change, namely the kind of the text that goes in them. Okay, actually, sorry, there's the wrong part of it. It's the text that goes in them, and essentially the text that goes in them and the cell that gets returned, essentially. So we could create something, a function which would be sort of like something return or get cell with text in it, something like that. So let's see if we can do something like that. So private sub get cell with text. Okay, and we'll pass as a parameter a string to that, and all it will do is return a table cell containing that string in it. By val cell str as string. Okay, and then so what we will do, it's not a sub by the way, it's a function because it's returning something. So I got that wrong, so I put it says private function get cell with text, and then what we're going to do is just kind of create so here, something like this one here, dim my cell. We're going to place dim my cell as new table head as new table cell. Okay, we'll keep the header stuff separate. Okay, so my cell as new cell. My cell dot text equals cell str. Okay, and then well, another parameter we could pass is the row. No, we won't bother with that. We'll just return the cell. So return my cell. Okay, so there'll be a sort of like a function which will just kind of make in fewer steps. So it'll make the code a little bit tidier. So get cell with text. So instead of, for example, here where it says here dim tc1 as new table cell. This is a bit where we're going through the data. Dim a tc1 new table cell tc1 text equals okay. So what I can do is just replace that with sorry, where it says tr controls add tc, I can just replace that with get cell with text open bracket db read item author. Okay, and then what that should do would be tr controls add. So now then I can just do it much more what's the word, efficiently. Tr controls add get cell with text db read item author, and I can do that exactly the same for the next 2 lines. Tr controls add do it for title, and we can also do that for week. Okay. By doing that, what we've done is we've put all of that into one function, which means that it just makes our code a little more easier to read now. Okay, so if I so that we need this function to create a row, we don't need to create a cell because we're doing that inside the function, and then all we need to do is at the end of each while loop we've got that. So we've now reduced each while loop. Inside each while loop we've reduced it now to 5 lines. Okay, we create our table row, we run this function which will put into that row a cell containing the text we want to display, then we'll add the row to the table, and therefore we've kind of cut down a lot of our code. I mean, we could do the same with these table headers as well. In fact, I think I will do that just to show you what we're doing. This time that we're instead of returning a cell, we're going to be returning a table header cell. So let's just be a little more neat. So get cell with text, get header cell with text, in my cell as new table header cell. Okay, I think, and then its function is the same. Cell str, return my cell, and then we can use this function again to replace a lot of lines here. So, for example, all we're doing is table header row controls add. So we can just say in there, we can just say get header cell with text week. Okay, and then that gets rid of those 2 lines. Okay, and we can do the same with title, and we can do the same with author. Okay, so title. Author. Okay, and having done all that, we can we'll have a much more, again, easier to read thing. Okay, so what we've done is by creating this function which inside it generates the cell, puts the text inside the cell, and then returns it. What we can do then is reduce many lines into a couple of lines, and then it becomes very easy to read. We can see very clearly what's going on. We're creating a table, creating a header row, we're adding these things into the header rows, we're adding the table header row to the table, then we go through the table contents, and then each time we're adding something from reading the database into the table, and finally we're adding the table to the placeholder, and all of that is occurring within this function display table, and that is being called by this page load. Okay, so let's just check that this is still working, because it might not be. So let's just check that it still is. It should look identical. It's just the code behind it now should be slightly more readable, I would hope. And again, sorry for that. Yes, and it's still coming out. It's still looking exactly the same, but we've made the code much more readable. Okay, by grouping various instructions into functions. Okay, so we've done that. Okay, so now then, the next thing we need to do is somehow allow the user to click on, say, one of those header cells to actually force the data to be sorted by that by that field. Okay, right. So now, what I'm going to be looking at particularly is how to actually make this header turn into a place where it produces hyperlinks, which by clicking on them will cause the data to be displayed differently, sorted according to the column heading that's been clicked. Okay, so essentially what we need to do is put hyperlinks inside these headers rather than pure text. Okay, so what we can do, since we've now kind of cleaned up the structure a bit and we've created our own function, what we need to do is just merely change the the definition of this function get header cell with text such that it generates a URL which it will allow the user to link to get a sorted version of the data. Now, what we could do, we could create 3 separate pages and having, say, one page separated by title, one page sorted by author, one page sorted by week. But that seems to me extremely inefficient. What we should instead do is actually create a URL with a parameter in it which will instruct the page on how to display the data when it gets an instruction. Okay. The way we do that is to create a name-value pair within the URL string. Okay, and a name-value pair means something that you would have, say, at the end of the URL, you'd have a question mark. Then you'd have something like sort equals week. Okay, and if you wanted to add other kind of name-value pairs, you can put ampersand something else equals something else, ampersand something else equals something else. Okay, that's the syntax for URLs, to be able to pass parameters to a URL to determine how the data should be displayed. Okay, so what we need to do is then create a hyperlink. Okay, so let's create a hyperlink object. So dim HL as new hyperlink. Okay, now we want the text to appear as before. Okay, so we want my cell the text to appear, but this time we want that as being the text inside the hyperlink. So we say hl.text equals cellstr. Okay. Well, let's get rid of that my cell text. Okay, because what we're also going to be doing is we're going to be returning a hyperlink rather than returning. We're going to be returning a hyperlink inside a cell rather than a cell itself. Okay, so h1 text is cell string. Then we hl dot navigate URL. Okay, equals. I was going to say equals, and this is the place we're going to be going to. So we could switch. Now we know our page is called mobilestandards.aspx. We can write that in mobilestandards.aspx. That's our page. But we want to pass it a parameter, namely being the sort value. So we say mobilestandards.aspx sort equals, okay, and then we could put in something like week, or we could type in title. We want to be able to type in whatever the user clicked on. Now we know that the cellstr parameter contains the text which will appear there. So you will either be author, title, or week. So we can use that here as being appending that to our string. So hl.navigate URL equals mobilestandards.aspx question mark sort equals quote, and then we'll put ampersand cellstr. Okay, meaning that whatever is the field, be it author, title, or week, that is clicked on, that will get appended to this link, which will be the place we will navigate to should the user click on it. Okay, so we've created then our hyperlink object hl. Now we need to add the hyperlink object to the cell. So we say something like mycell.controls.add, and we type in hl. Okay, and then we return mycell as we did previously. Okay, now then, let's see what happens if we do that. We will play it, start debugging, and after playing it, we will see there we've got now, as you see, in blue text indicating that it's now a hyperlink. We can click on these. Now if I click on this one, click on title, okay, nothing will actually happen. I mean, it will actually reload the page, and it will append, as you see here in the URL, sort equals title, but it doesn't actually do anything with that information. It knows it's got a sort equals week, or click on author, sort equals author, but nothing is happening, okay, at the moment with that. Okay, now then, what we need to do is actually change the SQL string based on what the user has clicked. So if we go back now into the code, okay, now let's have a look here. We've got this thing here. Whenever the page loads, it immediately runs this display table. But what we want to do is in display table have a different sort order based on what the user has chosen. Okay, Now then, so how do we find out what the user has chosen? Okay, well, it's easily done. In fact, you get it from a thing called the request object. Okay, the request object would, so I mean, just to show you now, will actually display, or will contain any kind of parameter passed to the URL. So if I put in here, we'd put a response.write just to actually show you at the top of the string, at the top of the page, what the page contains. So let's response.write request, the request object, dot params, okay, open bracket, and whatever you've passed as being your parameter. And remember, we've passed the word sort. Sort equals author, sort equals title, sort equals week. Okay, so we're passing a name value pair, and the name is sort. Okay, now let's see if we can get that to appear at the top of the page, just to show that it's actually that the page is actually working. So if I play this now, okay, now what should happen the very first time when we first go to this page, there are no params passed to it, okay, or there shouldn't be. So there's nothing appears there. Now, if I click on author, what should appear? Now you see there, author has appeared at the top. If I click on title, now title has appeared at the top. Okay, now so that's how we get hold of this thing which is inside the query string. Okay, that's how we get hold of it. Now then, what we shall do is actually use that. So we will pass it to the display table function. Okay, we'll say the display table function will take a value which will be basically the sort command. Okay. So let's redefine display table to have the meaning, so by val sort by as string. Okay, so this display table will take a parameter called sort by. Okay, so now we can add response right. We'll just get rid of that because we only use that to display it, and we'll put that inside display table. So now display table will be passing into it the actual whatever we've decided would be the sort. Okay. So now then, now this is the important part. This is the part where we're doing the SQL, isn't it? So now, what I think we'll do a simple if statement to make sure that sort by is not an empty string. Okay, so if we say if open bracket sort by, okay, is not equal to empty string. If sort by is equal to empty string, we will do what we're currently doing. Okay, is equal to empty string, then demand, but then else actually we'll put dim command query outside, otherwise it's not its scope is wrong. So we'll put dim command query as string outside of the if statement, and then I'll just say command query equals cmd query equals select stuff and paper, because my worry was that if I put the dim inside the if statement, that variable would only exist for the length of the if statement. I'm not certain, but I've got a feeling that might be a problem. So if sort by equals, if it's not there, then we just do an ordinary query. Otherwise, we say cmd query equals select star from papers order by, and then we add the parameter, which is going to be sort by. Okay, and then we say end if. Okay, so if the sort by is nothing, we do that. Now, the wise among you will know that there's something slightly wrong about that, so something slightly dangerous if you were putting this on a real web server, because you would be taking raw data from the user, and they might be able to put in some clever works to be able to kind of get into your system. So I'll subsequently show you how to kind of obviate that. But anyway, so now we've got that. So now what we should have is a system whereby we can now cause the data to display in different ways based on whatever we've chosen. So let's just try running it now. So let's try starting. Okay, so it's done that, so nothing. Now let's say now the title. Let's say now then oh dear, I've got a feeling none of this will make any difference because I haven't got any significant data in it. Aha, that did change the order. Okay, but unfortunately that's all the same. So let me just now add some more data into it. So let's get access up again. Okay, and we'll add some other data in it. So let's go back to mobile standards. Okay, so let's add a few more. Okay, so let's open the table. Let's start with A. So like a title, sort of like A and week 4, and let's say C. Oh no, something after M. So let's type in T, and we'll make that week 2. Okay. So now then we should just add a bit more data there. Okay, let's close access down again, and now I think I can just do it again, and it should have now more data in the system. So now, yes, we have the author. I've sorted by author, so A has come AMMT. Now I'm going to sort by title. So now it's AT and then TH, then U, and now I've got week, and so now I've got 2, 3, 3, 4. Okay, so now I've got my database now beginning to sort correctly. So that's nice. Probably the other thing what we need to do right now is to style the hyperlink object to actually make that white again as it was originally, and maybe get rid of the underlines because that's not very Web 2 having underlines inside of the thing. But I need to have my lunch now, so I'm going to do that in the next video.